Thank you for that news flash. Well, Donald Trump has scheduled a couple of meetings with his critics. Today, Mr. Trump meets with South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, who has called Trump an angry voice during the campaign. And yesterday, Mr. Trump met with our next guest, Mayor Bill de Blasio of New York City. Mr. Mayor, thanks for being here.
You're welcome, Allison.
How contentious was that meeting yesterday?
It was a respectful meeting. It was, over an hour. It was a substantive meeting. Candid, obviously, because there's real differences.
I heard you say that it was a very candid meeting. What did that sound like inside?
Look, I think it was important for me to explain to him how fearful people are in this city, in this country, that not just the rhetoric, but some of the policies that have been proposed literally have people wondering whether their family members might be deported, whether because of their religion they're going to be discriminated against. There's a sense that, of course, we don't know what he's going to do in practice, but if you take the words seriously, this changes the nature of this country, and people are feeling it very, very personally.
Did he understand that?
I'm not going to characterize his position. I will say it was a substantive discussion, and because it was a lengthy discussion, I'm hopeful, a lot of the give and take really registered. But I think the proof will be in the pudding. The question is, okay, there was that rhetoric, and it was shocking to a lot of us and unacceptable in the context of an American democracy. Now he's going to get to do things. The actions will tell us who he really is.
One of the things that he has said he's going to do is to deport criminal, undocumented immigrants. In other words, people who commit crimes. Do you disagree with that?
No, that was part of the discussion. Look, New York City already cooperates fully with the immigration authorities regarding anyone who's committed a series of substantial crimes, anything involving violence, terrorism, major drug offenses. What we are concerned about, there are some very petty crimes, nonviolent crimes, where I think this becomes a more complicated issue. Because what we do not want to do is be in the business of our police forces being effectively immigration enforcers. And talk to police chiefs around the country, they'll tell you this. Once people believe in the community that the police are there to effectively be immigration agents, the police lose their bond with a huge number of people in this country, not just those who are undocumented, that's almost 12 million people, but all their family members and community members, and then the police can't do their job of keeping us safe.
Got it. So you feel that you need these people. So you do not feel strongly about deporting people for petty crimes that are nonviolent.
Exactly.
Okay. And that is why New York and Chicago and other places, one of the reasons, are considered sanctuary cities.
Yeah, and Allison, I think that term has been misused in many cases. The bottom line here is we've got a lot of people in this country who are part of our communities. The vast majority, undocumented immigrants and all immigrants, are law-abiding, going about their work. We see them all the time in workplaces, on the bus, on the subway. We don't even know who's documented, undocumented, obviously. We do not want to create a situation where there's a rift, where people fear to come forward to the authorities. For example, if someone witnesses a crime, I talked to my police commissioner about this. If someone witnesses a crime and they happen to be undocumented, we want them coming to the police to tell us about it. We do not want a situation where they fear if they give information to the police, they'll be deported.
Okay, you make a compelling case. What happened when you made that case to Donald Trump?
Again, I won't characterize his position, but I will say there was a real back and forth. And it was, again, a candid and open conversation. And part of what I'm appealing to here is I'm trying to help Donald Trump understand the voices of the people in his own city. He's a true New Yorker. I'll give him that. We have our differences, but he loves New York City. I want him to understand 8.5 million people I represent, what their lives are like and what their fears are in this situation, and that he understands not, I'd say he has to get outside the transition bubble at this point. I can only imagine all that he's dealing with. But remember the people in the city he comes from and what they're going through, and think about that before he pronounces policies going forward.
Having had that conversation with him yesterday, do you still feel that he is dangerous and uniquely unqualified, as you said during the campaign about him?
Nothing that I have said previously that I rescind, because, again, the proof will be in the pudding. Here's a guy who said a lot of things that were very hurtful and very troubling. If he's going to govern differently, okay, show us that. But, again, I will give him credit. We had a real meeting. That's important. It's important to listen to critics. It's important to listen to people who don't think like you, and he did that to his credit. But in the end, all we know is what he talked about in the campaign. He gave us a vision, and I was very clear about why I thought it was a troubling vision, and why for my 8.5 million constituents it does not work. Now he gets a chance to govern and to show us who he really is.
The Southern Poverty Law Center says that they have recorded at least 400 alleged hate crimes since Tuesday's election. Are you seeing an uptick in New York City?
Yeah, we are. I don't think we have enough of a history yet to know the true effect. Is it true that some of the rhetoric that we heard in the election has emboldened people to come out with hate speech, in some cases acts of hate? Yes, I don't doubt that for a moment. And is it true that many, many people are fearful that they will be attacked now? I mean, it's so visceral, Allison. People in the LGBT community, people in the Muslim community, so many people are feeling, immigrants of all kinds, that they are going to be singled out and attacked. Latinos, obviously, because of what he said about Mexican Americans. So many people feel that it's now going to be open season.
Right, but so there's fear of it, which I get, but you don't know necessarily that, there are isolated incidents at the moment. Now, of course, there are also Trump supporters who have been attacked in New York.
And that's not acceptable either. But what we have to do is figure out how we're going to heal the wounds after this very, very tough election. Let's face it, this was an election like we've never seen before. There has to be a period of healing. Now, the president-elect has a chance to do that, first in word, ultimately in deed. And I think the selection of his team also becomes crucial here. Obviously, many people, myself included, have raised concerns about Mr. Bannon as an example of someone who adds to people's fears. And I think the president-elect needs to think about a team that would actually be reassuring.
Did you tell him that?
Yes, of course.
And what do you do? I see Bannon's already been chosen.
Look, a lot of things happen in transitions. I think when people look at someone associated with a website that has been divisive and extremist and obviously has talked about white nationalism, for example, there's a chance for the president-elect to rethink that person's role.
But you said those words to him.
I said to him that I thought Mr. Bannon was sending a very wrong message and did not belong.
What did he say?
Again, I'm not going to characterize his position, but I do appreciate that there was a candid discussion.